going to go ahead and continue with fractions. Today we're going to do the worksheet for fractions number 2. And I still have these reminders up here of our step-by-steps when we're going over each individual section of fractions. Always reduce, because that's a hidden rule that no matter what we always reduce our fractions. And if we have an improper or naughty fraction, to get it in the box. So our first number is 5/6 subtracting 1/10. Okay, and our step 1 says make sure we have the same number on the bottom. So that was making sure we had the common denominator. So I do not have the same number on the bottom, so I don't have a common denominator. First step after that is to go ahead and multiply the bottoms by each other. So I'm going to multiply my bottoms. So 6 times 10 is 60, so that's my new denominator. Okay. Next step is to cross multiply the tops. Because whatever I did to the bottom, I have to then do to the top. So the 6 got multiplied by the 10, so must the 5. So 5 times 10 is 50. The 10 got multiplied by the 6, so must the 1. 6 times 1, 6. Okay, next rule is to go ahead and just add or subtract the tops only. Well, we're in subtraction, so I'm just going to go ahead and subtract the tops only. So 50 minus 6 would be 44. Next is the bottom slides over. There's your final answer, but we have this hidden rule of always reduce. So that we can't leave as the final answer. We have to reduce it. They're both even numbers, so we can divide both of them by 2's. 44 divided by 2 is going to give me 22. 60 divided by 2 is going to give me 30. They are still even numbers, so I'm still going to divide them by 2. 22 divided by 2 is 11. 30 divided by 2 is 15. And there's your final answer. And that's how you're going to do subtraction. Now, if you see for like number 2, how it has 4/5 minus 4/5, there's already a common denominator. So when there's a common denominator, we can actually skip these first 3 steps. Because we don't need to look for a common denominator. We don't need to multiply them by each other, and we then don't need to cross multiply the tops. But that's only if we already have a common denominator. So if we already have the same number on the bottom, we don't need to find a common denominator. However, if you are in the habit of multiplying the bottoms by each other, cross multiplying the tops, if you just get in that habit, that's completely fine. You'll still get the same answer. You're just doing extra steps that you don't have to do. Alright, if we continue with this worksheet, on the bottom it does have adding, okay, and we reviewed that yesterday, so I actually want you to go to the second page of adding, and number 3 has a mixed fraction. So I'm going to show you how we do these mixed fractions. Okay, so number 3 says 2 5/7 plus 4/9. So 2 5/7 plus 4/9. Okay, make sure we have the correct numbers. Perfect. All right, now we still follow these same rules, but we have a mixed number. We cannot do anything with that mixed number just yet. So what we need to do is we need to make it improper first. So I'm going to put a little star up here, and I'm going to say, make it naughty. First, if it's mixed. Okay, and then that's going to be like a big rule for all of the ones we do. We want to make it improper or make it naughty first before we can continue with this. So if you remember how we did that yesterday, we will take our denominator, multiply by our whole number, and then add the numerator. So 7 times 2 is 14 plus 5 is going to give me 19. Denominator stays the same. Just making my new problem. So this is my new problem. Okay, now once I've done that, I can go ahead and continue with my next step. Make sure we have the same numbers on the bottom. We don't have the same numbers on the bottom, so we're going to multiply bottoms by each other. Okay, and then 7 times 9 is going to give me 63. Okay, now whatever we did at the bottom, we must then do the top, so I'm going to cross multiply my tops. 19 times 9 is 171. 4 times 7 is 28. And then the next step is to go ahead and, all right, let's go ahead and continue. So we have 171 plus 28 will give me 199. Bring the 63 over. Okay, we have an improper fraction, so we have to get it in the box by dividing. 199 will go in the box, 63 outside the box. Can 63 go into 199? Yes. How many times? 3. 3 times 63. Subtract, I get 10. Okay, 10 goes over 63. And that is your final answer. That cannot be reduced. Alright, we are going to continue with multiplying fractions, which tends to be the easiest category out of all fractions. And so there's only one step to do, and that is to multiply the fractions straight across both numbers. So I have a fraction of 2/3 times 3/6. So 2/3 times 3/6. Multiply them both straight across. So I'm just going to go straight across. Okay. 2 times 3 is 6. 3 times 6 is 18. And then we just have to reduce. So they're both even numbers, so we're going to divide them both by 2's. Okay, 6 divided by 2 is going to give me 3. 18 divided by 2 is going to give me 9. Now they're not even numbers, but 3 can go into both, so divide them both by 3's. 3 divided by 3 is 1. 9 divided by 3 is 3. Your final answer is 1/3. Even for this last one where it has 3 fractions, doesn't matter. Multiply all fractions by each other straight across. All right, the last section we're going to go ahead and do is the dividing fractions, which may seem, just the name may seem intimidating and hard, but it's actually, again, one of the easier ones to do. Usually adding and subtracting are the two hardest categories. So with dividing, we have one step as well, copy dot flop. Okay, so what that means is I'm going to copy down my first problem. So let's make my problem first. Okay, and then we're going to copy dot flop would mean to flip it. So I'm going to flip it. Perfect. And what does a dot mean in math? It means multiply. So now we multiply by multiplying straight across. So I'm going to multiply 2 times 7 to give me 14. 3 times 4 to give me 12. Okay, so now I have an improper fraction as my final answer, so I just have to get it in the box. So I'm just going to go ahead and put that. So 14 is my naughty fraction. He goes in the box. 12 is my good number. 12 go into 14 one time. 1 times 12. Subtract to get 2. 2 is my numerator over 12. And then I'm going to reduce that because they're even. So 2, that's a 1, sorry. 2 divided by 2 is 1. 12 divided by 2 is 6. And then adding that to my whole number. The last one I wanted to go over is number 17. Number 17 has mixed numbers and a whole number by itself. So let's go ahead and write this down. I have 4 1/4 divided by 3. Number 17, 4 1/4 divided by 3. Okay, so up here we had make it naughty first, if it's a mix. Same rule is going to apply for subtracting, multiplying, adding, or dividing. So I have to get rid of these whole numbers. So I'm going to go 4 times 4, 16, plus 1 is 17 over 4. But I don't have any number over here. So I'm going to go ahead and put over 1. Basically, by me putting that over 1, I'm saying I had 3 individual serving pies. Okay. Now my rule of copy dot flop, copy dot flopping the other one. Okay, multiply straight across. 17 times 17 is 17, or sorry, times 1 is 17. 3 times 4 is 12. Improper, put it in the box. 17 is improper, 12 is good. Can 12 go into 17? Yes, 1 time. 1 times 12. Subtract, I get 5. 5 is now my numerator over 12. And that is how I do adding, subtracting, multiplying, and dividing fractions. Go ahead and continue with your worksheet, and we'll go from there. Thank you.